اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، إنه خير ناصر ومعين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه وأفضل بريته حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد طب القلوب ودوائها ونور أبصارها، وعلى أهل بيته الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. Once again, we give our thanks to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us this great and wonderful opportunity this time around to interact with our respected brothers and to advise one another according to the teachings of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdalu salati wa asqa salam. Inshallah, as you are all aware, respected brothers and sisters, we're going to tackle an issue which is very, very important and related to our youth. Of course, one way or the other, also our fathers and mothers will be part and parcel of the discussion. As you know, youth in each and every community, they are regarded as the major component of that particular community. When you lose the youth, you lose the community. When you have the youth, you have the community. According to the teachings of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, Prophet said the success of each and every community is dependent on the youth and the women. If the women are okay, the community will be okay. If the women are corrupt, the community will be corrupted. The same thing applies to our youth. If they are okay, the community will be okay. And if the youth are corrupted and they are out of the way, they are out of the line, the community will not be a successful community. Inshallah, this afternoon I want to talk about the identity of a Muslim youth, especially these youths who claim to love Ahlul Bayt alayhim salatu wasalam. What are your identities? What are your characteristics? What are your qualities? Because you cannot be a profound personality without fulfilling some requirements. If you don't have those requirements, you are not regarded as an exemplary youth or an exemplary Muslim youth for that matter. Let him take you back a little bit, brothers and sisters, just to draw your attention to what I wanted to highlight on. We all believe in the revolution of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Without a shadow of doubt, we believe Islam is about Hussein. Normally, what we are reminded of by our ulamas, just to encourage our youth, both males and females. You know, there is this great alim who always, when he talks about the revolution of Imam Hussein, he connected it to the a'mal of Hajj and Umrah. He said, when you go to Hajj, there are certain rituals that you have to undertake. If you don't undertake those rituals, your Hajj will not be proper Hajj, and Allah will not accept your Hajj. He said, when you go to Hajj, you have to make Safa and Marwa. Without Safa and Marwa, there is no Hajj and there is no Umrah. When you go for Hajj, you have to go and sacrifice. You slaughter something, you cannot slaughter, you have to fast 3 days in Makkah. When you come back to your home, you fast for 7 days. When you go for Hajj, you have to go and build shaitan, just to imitate the work of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. He said, this is where I want to draw your attention, to understand the importance of youth in each and every community. We cannot afford to neglect youth in our community. The moment you neglect them, that is the beginning of our failure. The moment we said we are sick and tired of them, that is the beginning of our failure. In other words, we cannot get anywhere if we neglect our youth, both males and females. He said, when you go to Hajj, you have Safa and Marwa 7 times. He said, on the day of Ashura, Aba Abdullah al-Hussein also had the Safa and Marwa. They asked, what was the Safa and Marwa of Hussein on the day of Ashura? Said the Safa and Marwa of Hussein was between the battlefield and the tent or the camp. He said Imam Hussein had 10s and 20s of Safa and Marwa on the day of Ashura. Said number 2, when you go for Hajj, you have to sacrifice, slaughter, make qurbani or hadiyah or whatever, depending on your type of Hajj and your intention. Said Aba Abdullah al-Hussein also had sacrifice on the day of Ashura. This is the point of departure. The question, what was the sacrifice of Imam Hussein on the day of Ashura? They said the sacrifice of Hussein, you go to Hajj, you slaughter sheep, animals you slaughter. But the sacrifice of Hussein were human beings, isn't it? But what type of human being were a sacrifice of Hussein? They were children of 12 years, children of 6 months, children of 13 years, children of 16 years, according to the report we received. A reporter said, Shabun Kutila Abuhu fil Ma'araka. Shabun, I want the youth to listen very carefully. Shabun Kutila Abuhu fil Ma'araka. There was this youth who was with his father and parents, for that matter. Kutila Abuhu fil Ma'araka. His father was killed during the battle. And the father was fighting alongside Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. The report said, Shabun Kutila Abuhu fil Ma'araka. Youth who lost his father during the battle, youth. Although today, when we talk of a youth, there are different definitions of youth. Sociologists, they've got their definition. Psychologists, they've got their definition. Philosophers, they've got their definition. There are different types of definition of youth. But we say when we talk of a youth, 10 years, 12 years, 11 years, 15 years, they are all regarded as youth. Because when you look at this report, that said Shabun Kutila Abuhu fil Ma'araka, this youth whose father was killed during the battle of Imam Hussein, he was a youth of 13 years according to some reporters. Some said he was a youth of 12 years according to some reporters. Some said he was a youth of 14 years according to some reporters. When the father was killed, I want the youth to listen very carefully. This boy was with his mother. This is where the role of mother and father can be very strong in shaping and nursing and nurturing the youth to become the best youth who can be an exemplary youth in the community and in the society, and who can contribute positively to the development of our Jama'at and to the development of our community. Because believe me or not, we can't do without them. It is impossible to do without the youth. Jama'at cannot grow without the presence of the youth, whether you like it or not. That is the trend laid for us by Ahlul Bayt and our beloved Prophet. His mother realized that this youth wanting to go and fight on behalf of Hussein. You know the armor, this thing that they dressed to fight. That of his father, according to the report, was very, very long, big. And the mother had no any other option. She called the son. And she said to the son, your father is gone. I want you also to go and fight on behalf of Hussein. This is a good mother. This is a good father. Then she gave him this armor and everything, the shield, and put it on. Reporters said it was like jubba. You gave this jubba or jalabia or whatever to the small boy. It became very big for the boy. So the youth wore it and he went out. When he was going out, he was saying, Amiri Hussein, wa ni'mal amir. Sururun fu'adun nadhir. Hal ta'lamu lahu min nadhir. Another report said, Imami, Aliyun wa Fatima walida. When this boy, the youth, was going, you need to learn from this type of youth. When he was going out, he was chanting this slogan, Amir Hussein, my Amir, my leader is a Hussein youth of 12 years. Some of you are older than him. Maybe he never had even a lot of mechanisms of learning about Islam. You had more. He said, my master is Hussein. His father and mother are Ali and Fatima. He is my Imam and he is the comfort and the happiness of my heart. Is there any leader like Hussein? He went to Hussein and said, my Mawla, give me permission to go and fight. Hussein said, no, your father is gone. Why should I allow you? Your mother, is she happy? He said, yes, my mother is the one who asked me. Then Imam Hussein allowed him and he went and fought. That's number one. So it means the role of youth is very, very important in each and every society. Look at the children of Bibi Zainab, Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayha, Muhammad and all. They were youth. Some said 15 years, the other one 17 years, some said 14 years, depending on the reports. But at the end of the day, they were youth. Their mother who loved Allah and who loved the Imam of her time, and who knew who was the Imam of the time and the requirements of being obedient to the Imam of the time. Bibi Zainab, on the night of Ashura, on the night of the 10th, as you all know, she called these two boys and sat down with them and said to them, oh my two boys. And as you remember, Abbas, the wife, the husband of Bibi Zainab, when they were living, he did not count into certain philosophy. But he said one of them should serve as a sacrifice for Ali, and one of them should serve as a sacrifice for Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What did Bibi Zainab do? Good mother. She sat down with these two young boys and said to them, I'm not asking you to go and fight, but you cannot bear to see Hussein dying and lying on the ground. And eventually that was what happened. When everything became very, very hot and heated, these two boys had to go to defend Abu Abdullah Hussein. Look at a good mother. When they were killed, Imam was coming back to come and see his sister just to console her. He came and found Bibi Zainab in Sajda. And she was making dua and thanking Allah. Allahumma taqabbal minna hadha al-qurban. Oh Allah, accept on our behalf this sacrifice. Some ulama say she said this is a humble sacrifice. So youth are very, very, very vital in each and every community. Now let's come. What are the qualities of a Muslim youth? And what are the identities of a Muslim youth? Because you have to go by your identity. If you don't have an identity, you are a lost person. When Prophet, peace be upon him, said on the day of Qiyamah, لَن تَزُولَ كَدَمَ عَبْدِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ حَتَّى يُسْأَلْ. No one will be allowed on the day of Qiyamah to make a step until and unless that person is questioned. Number one, Prophet mentioned, "An umrihi fima afna." How did you end your life? Did you end your life in corruption? Did you end your life in following and being obedient to Allah? Then the second one, which is my point, وَأَنْ شَبَابِهِ فِيمَا أَبْلَى. Your youthness, when you were youth, how did you handle it? Because this is a very, very important stage of your life. That is why some of the riwayah said, we will be questioned based on our youthness on the day of Qiyamah. When Allah is going to ask you, He's going to ask you when you were youth. Because sometimes you become old. One realizes that now few kilometers I'll be going to Gaza. Then one starts to become very strong in his deen. So that's why some riwayah said, most of the question will be based on youth. When you were youth, energetic, very strong, no sickness, no tiredness. وَعَنْ شَبَابِهِ فِيمَا أَبْلَى. You will be questioned about this youth. One riwayah of the Prophet said, سَبَعَةٌ يُذِلُّهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي ظِلِّهِ يَوْمَ لَا ظِلَّ إِلَّا ظِلَّهُ. 7 people on the day of Qiyamah, there will be no shade, but Allah will provide them with His divine shade. Day of Qiyamah, no shade to block you from the sun. But Allah, the Prophet said, there are 7 people on the day of Qiyamah, Allah will give them His shade. Because the heat there is going to be very tough and very strong. One riwayah said, some people when they place their feet, they will raise it. And they place another one, they raise it. Because it's very hot, it's going to be very hot. It's not going to be easy. One of those people, of course, which you know, Al-Imam Al-Adil, Imam, leader, who's a just leader. Father, mother, who's a just father. Uncle, who's a just uncle. If you are a father and you are not just within your children, on the day of Qiyamah you will not get a shade. If you are the Imam of the mosque, or the chairman of the mosque, or the secretary of the mosque, and you are not just in dealings with people, because Prophet mentioned, they asked, well, who is the Imam you are talking about in this hadith? Then Prophet said, Al-Abud Imam, Wal-Ra'isu Imam. Prophet kept on explaining, father is Imam, mother is Imam, leader of the community is Imam, secretary is Imam. Al-Imam Al-Adil, just leader. If you are not just, forget it, you will not get that shade of Allah. Number 2, which is my point, وَشَابٌ نَشَأَ فِي عِبَادَةِ رَبَّهِ. Allahu Akbar. Shabun nasha. Which is shab? Shabab means youth. Shabun nasha fi ibadati rabbi. This youth, whose endeavor, whose attempts, whose thinking, whose thoughts is to grow in spirituality. Youth who only thinks about Allah. Youth who only thinks about spiritual development. Prophet said that youth will also go to Jannah, and you'll get that shade. And another one Prophet mentioned, وَرَجُلَانِ تَحَابَّا فِي اللَّهِ اجْتَمَعَ عَلَيْهِ وَتَفَرَّقَ عَلَيْهِ. 2 brothers, 2 sisters, 2 youth. You are a friend to him, that's one of the identities which I'll mention later, because he loves Allah. I'm friend to you because you love me, because I love Allah. Because of that, on the day of Qiyamah, you'll get that shade when there will be no shade on the day of Qiyamah. Now let us come to the identity of Muslim youth, based on the teachings of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam. Very quickly and briefly, I'm going to mention number 1, identity. I want you to lend me your hearings. It might be simple, but it carries a lot of weight. Because they ask our Imam, what are the qualities of a Muslim youth? Ma hiya khasa'is al-shabab. Then Imam said the first quality of a Muslim youth is Shi'i. That youth is obedient to his parents and those of the age of his parents. This is number 1 point, which you have to stop a little bit. This is the teaching of our imams. Today people talk of different identities. I belong to this tribe, I belong to this. That's important, but not this. Imam alayhi salatu wassalam said, if you want to know the best youth, and the youth who represent us Ahlul Bayt, that youth is obedient to his father and mother, and each and every person who is of the age of the father and of the age of the mother. And that's what Allah mentioned today, unfortunately. 1,000 times unfortunately. You find children, you find youth, they talk to their parents like they are same age. Sometimes even when they give their parents something, they give them with the left hand. Sometimes the father is talking to him or her, is looking at some place, is not looking at the face of the father. Prophet ﷺ mentioned, there are 3 instances where the mercy of Allah comes in number and descendant. One of them, of course, Prophet mentioned a place where marriage is being contracted. Mercy of Allah comes in number and covers all those people who are present. Number 2, Prophet mentioned, when the door of Kaaba is open, you see that door? There by Hatim, when the door is open, the mercy of Allah comes in number. Number 3, Prophet mentioned, the moment a boy or a girl sit down and look into the face of his father and mother with respect and humility, the mercy of Allah descended in number. So Imam Abi Abdullah Jafar al-Sadiq, he said the first quality and identity of a Muslim youth is that this person is obedient to his father and mother. You know, during the time of our Prophet, there was this youth, this is how the hadith came, youth, sharp, who was in the Sakarat al-Maut, he was about to die. Normally, Islam urges us when a person is about to die and we realize that he's going, come close to him, make la ilaha illallah, recite ayat al-Kursi, recite Surah Yasin, Allah will make it easy for him to depart from this world. So this youth was dying. Many people came to him trying to tell him, say la ilaha illallah, say this and that. He couldn't say anything, he was just stammering. Until they called Prophet, peace be upon him. I want the youth to listen very carefully. When they called Prophet, Prophet went to this youth and Prophet started to say la ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, la ilaha illallah. He couldn't say it. Prophet tried, he couldn't say it. So Prophet himself, Rahmatan lil Alameen. People were so astonished. The Prophet stood up and he asked those who were around, are his parents alive? Are his mother and father alive? Then people said, yes, his mother is alive, but the father is not alive. He said, can you call me his mother? He said, yes, they brought the mother. When they brought the mother, Prophet asked her, is this your son? She said, yes, this is my son. Do you have any problem with him? He said, yes, for the past 6 years we are not in talking terms. SubhanAllah. You're not in talking terms. I hope none of us here is in that fashion. Prophet said, you're not in talking terms, what's the problem? He said, a simple thing, I was trying to advise him. And he was trying to show me that he knows better than me. I insisted and he insisted until bad word came out of his mouth. Then from there I became angry and I'm not ready to forgive him. Then Prophet asked her, are you ready now to forgive him because of me? He said, Wallah, I thought I will never forgive him. But because of you, you are my Prophet. This is really, you know, it might be very simple, but it's very serious, brothers. Even those of us, if you are grown up and our parents are still alive, it goes there also. Then Prophet said, then forgive him. She said, I've forgiven him because of you, Prophet. And I don't have any reservation. Then Prophet went back to the youth. Said, say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Then he started saying, la ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. The Prophet said to them, and all those who were there in the mother, he could not say that word because he did not have the blessings of the mother. If he had that blessing of the mother and father, it was going to make it easy for him to say La ilaha illallah. You look at Quran chapter Isra, made it very clear. When Allah said, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. So one of your qualities, you as youth, you are known to be obedient to your parents and to be obedient to all those who are of the age of your parents. Allah said, the first, you should worship me. And secondly, you should be obedient to your father and mother. Today, look at our community. Family values are in tatters. Children are assuming the position of their fathers. And fathers rather are becoming like children. The child has to tell the father what to do. And the father cannot say anything. When the child becomes angry, the father becomes scared and the mother. Where are we heading towards to? Are we really preparing the ground for the coming of Sahib al-Asr wa zaman arwahuna lahul fida? When one of the warriors said, even the imam of the time, when he reappears, he will reappear like a youth. That is why many will not believe in him. Because when he reappears, he will be like a youth. Some say, no, we were expecting somebody older and elder. Why? This is not Imam. They will run away. These are some of the why we receive from Ali. To such an extent, Islam said, even if your father and mother, alhamdulillah, we are not like that. وَإِنْ جَاهَدَاكَ عَلَىٰ أَنْ تُشْرِكَ بِي مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. Allahu Akbar. Even if they are polytheists, they are idol worshippers, your father and mother, Allah still say in Quran, you have to be kind to them. You have to be humble to them. You have to respect them. You have to make sure when you talk to your father, you talk to your father in a humble way. That is number one. You can go and also think about it. That is number one quality of a Muslim. Number two, identity of a Muslim youth. This is according to the teachings of Mawla'i Kainat. A Muslim youth is known by his friend. Who is your friend? Quran mentioned, لا تتخذوا الكافرين أو المشركين أولياء من دون المؤمنين. Do not take people who don't know God to be your friend at the expense of those who know God. Imam said, عن المرء لا تسأل وأبصر كرينه فكل كرين بمكارن يكتب. الله أكبر أمير المؤمنين. Imam said, if you want to know our youth, those who follow us are the right. Don't look at them, look at their friends. Their friends will tell you who they are. So one of the quality of Muslim youth is that they take very good friend. They take pious friend. They take a friend who reminds them of Allah. They take friend who remind them it's time for Salah, and they take friend who remind them of the day of Qiyamah. Muslim youth doesn't take someone who takes them out of the way. Number three, identity of a Muslim youth, which is of utmost importance. Muslim youth is a youth of Quran. Our youth today, they are far from Quran. Prophet, peace be upon him, said, when a youth is a hafiz shabun, is how Prophet mentioned. A youth memorizes Quran. Allah makes the flesh of that youth with Quran. So one of the quality and identity of a youth is that the youth, they are always with Quran and they hold on to Quran. And the last but not the least, which is one of the best identity according to our seventh Imam of the youth. Imam said, a Muslim youth should be between one of the two. Imma aliman aw muta'allima. Muslim should either be a scholar who imparts knowledge or the one who takes knowledge. Then Imam said, إِذَا لَمْ يَكُنْ عَالِمًا أَوْ مُتَعَلِّمًا فَقَدْ ضَيَّعَ. If he is neither a scholar or a teacher or a learner, he is a lost youth. And Imam said, if he is a lost youth, his abode will be Jahannam. Last but not the least, as you know, brothers and sisters, today we are living in a very, very difficult world. Temptations are all over. Social network is one of our temptations. Today you find our Muslim youth, there is this thing they call Mixit. It is on a phone, Mixit, you can charge very cheap. Like half a cent. If you send a message, I don't know whether you have it here. In our place, it's very rampant. So you find, through this social network, a lot of sins are committed. Facebook, you can use it for your good sake and a very good thing. But our youth today, they are using it for something else. Sometimes you find a Muslim youth who is drinking. These are all some of the things that Ahlul Bayt mentioned, that in Akhir Zaman, if you want to be successful, look at the new things that are coming and make sure you control your youth. Last but not the least, youth cannot be okay when the leaders are not okay. They have to get it from the leaders. They have to get it from the elders. If the elders are haywire, the youth will also fall. The leaders should lead by an example. Then our youth will also follow suit. But if our leaders cannot follow the proper teachings of Ahlul Bayt, we will find it very, very difficult to control the youth. We ask Almighty Allah to help us to be able to follow the teachings of Ahlul Bayt, inshallah. Now we'll open the floor for a few minutes here. If there are questions, especially from our youth, specifically on what we have discussed, raise it up, inshallah. Then we can see how best we can handle it, inshallah, in a few minutes, so that you can go and have your rest, inshallah. Sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. No.
If you permit, what are the ways to train our youth, to train in such a way that they can take the leadership of our community?
What are the ways of training our youth? I refer you to Quran, chapter 1. That is the best way of upbringing a youth. Where Luqman alayhi salatu wasalam, as you know, he wasn't a prophet. He was a slave of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The best way to upbring your youth, number one, as I mentioned last night, you yourself who is a trainer, you must also be up to date. That's number one. In other words, if you want to urge the youth to perform salah, you must also perform first. You cannot tell me to perform salah when you yourself hardly I see you in the mosque. I see you maybe sometimes in Muharram and in Ramadan. And Ramadan was only first 15 nights. After first 15 nights, you were nowhere to be found. And you want to tell me it doesn't work out. You know, it is a wave. If you talk to somebody, they said it is a wave. When you talk from the heart and reciprocally, that other fellow also accepts it. As Imam mentioned, من جعل نفسه إماما فليبدأ بتربية نفسه. If you make yourself a guide, you should first start with yourself. So that is number one step, Sheikh. If you are a leader here, a youth leader or a father or a mother who want to tell people, because some people they want to command on authority. There is no problem, you have to command on authority. But first command authority on yourself. Teach yourself, train yourself. If you don't know how to talk, learn how to talk before you talk to others. If you don't know how to associate, learn how to associate before you associate with others. Because if you do that, you know what happens? When you talk, it goes right from your heart to the heart of that person. That is what one of the hadiths of Al-Bayt said, Al-alimu man idha nadarta ilayhi yudhakkiruka al-akhirah. A leader, a scholar who gives God's teaching, that's the one, when you look at his face, just by looking at his face, he reminds you of the day of Qiyamah. So that is number one, Sheikh. But if you are able to deal with your nafs, with yourself, then go to chapter Luqman. Luqman sat down with his son. This is really a very excellent procedure. What did Luqman say? Ya bunayya, Allahu Akbar. Today some of us, when we talk to our children, hey, man, hey, Baba, Quran said, Ya bunayya, oh my beloved son. Sometimes the approach of address can make a magical. Sometimes we have the points, but we don't have approach. That's why people will run away from us. Quran said to Prophet, لو كنت فظا غليظ القلب لانفضوا من حولك. If you, Prophet, you were harsh. Harsh to them. You want to be harsh to the youth. You want to smack them. You want to shout at them. You want your voice to be higher. You want to be seen that you are the one whose voice is the most powerful voice. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala said to our beloved Prophet, if you, Prophet, you were harsh to your companions, you know, some companions were there because of food, some companions were there because of leadership, some of course were there because of the love of Prophet, and some were there because of their own ulterior motive. But Allah upon all that said to Prophet, if you, Prophet, were harsh to them, they would have all took to their heels. You not taking to their heel, they would have all run away and leave you alone. So number two, talk in a nice way. Ya bunayya, Luqman said, oh my beloved son. When you want to talk to your son, my dear, my beloved son, my sweetheart, you know, before you talk, you have already finished the boy. La tushriku billah, inna shirka dhulmun adheem. So the approach is very, very important. If you look at Prophet himself, how did he approach Imam al-Hassan and Imam al-Hussein? In a very nice way, until to such extent, sometimes you remember, we are told in riwayah, which is authentic riwayah, Prophet will be in the mosque performing salah, Imam will come and sat there. He's masoom. But Prophet wanted to show us the way we should relate and interact with our children. Prophet would be in sajda, and one of them would be on the back, and Prophet will remain in sajda until the boy is out. This to tell us that these children, they are amanat to us. They are trust of Allah in our hand. Hum hadiyatullahi ilaykum, this is one of the riwayah. They are hadiyah, and fathers and mothers, you will be questioned about this gift to Allah. Kullukum ra'in wa kullukum mas'ulun an ra'iyyatihi. So the approach here, the way you address, look at the way Allah addresses us in Quran. He addresses us with humility, with humbleness. You address that way with humbleness. Yes, sometimes you may find this child is hard not to grab, but still approach him with humbleness. Then slowly but surely you will be able to appeal in the heart of that boy. So first apply it to yourself, second approach the boy with humbleness. Let the boy see that you are implementing what you are teaching him. Not like the Quran said, أَتَأْمُرُونَ النَّاسَ بِالْبِرِّ وَتَنْسَوْنَ أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ تَتْلُونَ الْكِتَابَ أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. You want people to be good, but you are not good yourself. It doesn't work. So we ask Allah to help us, inshallah.
Sheikh.
No.
Just now you have said about the youth toward the parents.
Yeah.
I would like to ask you, what is the duty of parents toward the youth?
Excellent. This is very, very important. What is the duty of the parents towards the youth? You know, Islam is a very interesting religion. We said Islam is a holistic way of life. It's a holistic way of life in the sense that it attends to each and every aspect of our life. Relation between parents and their children and vice versa is part of social program of Islam. Parents, they've got a role to play. And tonight, inshallah, it will be even first introduction of my lecture will be on that also. What are the rights of a child over his parents? The hadith I've just quoted, you will be questioned about your children and the upbringing of the children. Number one right of a child of Islam, which you all know, I'm sure, is to give the child a good name. That's number one. When the child comes to the world, give him a good name. When the child names follows the child. You must give a child a meaningful name. You don't just give your child a name which is not okay. Number two, teach your children about Allah. How? You don't come to the mosque and you want your child to come to the mosque. Sometimes father will sit in the house, hey Muhammad, why are you not going to the mosque? Don't you ask? You are trying to do that. When last did you sit with your children to discuss about Amir al-Mu'minin? You have to teach them God. Adibuhum. Teach them about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, you know, material responsibility, I don't want to talk about it. Food, whatever, accommodation until they reach puberty state, that one I don't want to talk about. The most important is spiritual side. And Prophet mentioned, Al-waladu salih, rayhanatun min rayahin al-jannah, wa rayhanataya fi dunya, al-Hasan wal-Husayn. Prophet said, a good child is a treasure to the father and mother. And that my treasure of this world is Hassan and Hussein. How does a child become a treasure? Is when the father and mother impart that value in the child. Let your child learn from you by your action, not by what comes out of your mouth. Teach your children with actions, brothers and sisters. Wallahi. Before you talk to them, before they see you, go do it. In the house, teach them with actions. Let your actions speak more than your words. Once you have good action, slowly but surely, the child will take, as Imam Ali mentioned. He said, you see, the heart and the soul of a child is plain. It's like when you write something on a mountain, on a stone, it sticks there. The same thing applies. You say to your child, don't watch this channel on TV. You check he's sleeping, and then you open it and you are watching. The child opens his head a little bit, he saw the watch. Okay. Tomorrow I will also do when you are not there. So that the problem is us. You say you respect everybody, but when you talk to people you don't respect them, the child will not respect them. So Imam said, teach your children by action. Like these small ones, you go to the mosque, hold them. Let them be with you, take them to the mosque. And you see, when they are young like this, they said, the training of a child is divided into 3 for the parents. First 7, second 7, and last 7. First 7, Prophet said, give them independence. Let your child become your master. This was Prophet mentioned. And as you know, you will break the bottles, you will break all the glasses, you know. He will jump on your neck. Just leave him, you know. Leave him. Don't make. Prophet said, don't make a lot of Amr bil Maruf that age. Because if you want to make a lot of Amr bil Maruf there, the child will become stubborn. Hey, Amr bil Maruf, you want the heat? They said in the first 7, when the child cries, he's testifying to the oneness of Allah. He's testifying to Tawheed. So give him the independence. But in the second 7, Prophet said, "Murru abna'akum lis-salati li-7 sinin." Teach your children about salah when they become 7 years of age. When they are 10, you know, Hadith said, "Wadribum," beating them, but not beating which you know, physical beating or something. Show them that you're not happy. From your face, show them that you're not happy. Second 7 is a very important age, whereby you have to impart the knowledge, you have to teach them, teach them about Allah. Alhamdulillah, we need our elderly matter, we take them to school, secular. But sometimes we don't give much attention to Islamic teaching. If you, the father and mother, you don't respect the teacher who teach them at the madrasa, the child will never respect the teacher. Sometimes in the house you speak bad about Maulana in front of your child, the child will also speak about Maulana. Madrasa said you have a dress code like this, book like this, you don't do it. The child will not respect it. So let the child see in your action, and then the child will follow suit. They said the third 7, you become the master of your child. And the child will, no, second 7, you become the master. And third 7, the child become your consultant. After 21, you consult him, he become, because you managed to look after him. First 7, okay. Second 7, you've done your part. Third 7, you consult your child. The child now is your friend. It's no more your son anymore. And this is how Islam wants us to do. But any parent who will not do his part, he will be stopped on the day of Qiyamah. And your child also, if you don't do your part, after the energy that your parents have exhausted, he will also be questioned on the day of Qiyamah. So I pray and ask Allah that our youth become Qur'ani youth, inshallah. You mentioned that a good leader is necessary for good youth. What are the qualities of a good leader? Imam, in the sense, mother. Okay. What are the qualities of a good leader? Very, very important question. One of the best qualities of a good leader is that a good leader doesn't think of himself first. He always thinks of his flocks. Good leader, like our prophet, like Ahlul, he thinks of his flocks first before he thinks of himself. Number 2, good leader is the one who makes sure he attends even to the weakest link of his community. Some are very weak, in a true sense of being weak. It could be physical weakness, it could be social weakness, it could be political weakness, it could be financial weakness. Prophet said a good leader is the one who attends to the weakest link of the community. A good leader is the one who is a good listener. He listens very well. Your dad wants to talk to you, don't want to listen to him. You think he's young. A member of the committee comes to you, you are a chairman, you are a secretary, whatever, he wants to talk to you, don't want to listen to him. It doesn't work. The pain of the community is the pain of that leader. And the happiness of the community is the happiness of that leader. This is the qualities of a good leader. A good leader is the one who is not scared of criticisms. Some leaders are autocratic. When they take a decision, finish, final. You will make people stubborn and they will hate you. Let them air their views. Quran mentioned we can't run away from it. وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورَى بَيْنَهُمْ. Their affairs is shura, mashwara. One respected brother of Sunni will come forward and say, Baba Maulana, If you say وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورَى بَيْنَهُمْ, then when they went to Saqifa, they met Shura, and they appointed the first Khalifa of Muslims, so he's a Khalifa. I said, you make mashwara in something which there was no law from Allah. If there is a law from Allah, authority from Allah, you don't make mashwara. Authority from Allah comes. إِنَّمَا وَلِيُّكُمُ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ وَهُمْ رَاكِعُونَ. Authority came from Allah. إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ. Authority came from Allah. أَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُوا الرَّسُولَ وَأُولِي الْأَمْرِ مِنكُمْ. These are authorities, so mashwara doesn't work there. Mashwara work here. Arusha Jamaat, Tanzania Jamaat, Nairobi Jamaat, Soweto Jamaat, South Africa Jamaat. Because there is no ayah to say you must be the leader. No ayah. Ayah only give us qualities, so you look at the qualities. No ayah to say, no, when we discuss about Ramadan, it should be like this. No. Everybody must bring his views so that we can take the best view out of it. At the end of the day, we are not masumin. That is why we have to depend on the mashwara. So one of the qualities of a good leader is that he listens to people. It's not autocratic. It's not scared of criticisms. Most leaders, they are scared of criticism. When you criticize them, they label you as their enemy. Ya Allah. But flocks also, you've got qualities. If you are a flock, you have to be obedient to your leaders also. But you don't follow blindly. Quran, they eschewed that they said we should not follow blindly. So if you are a flock, you should also be obedient to your leader. Because Amir al-Mu'minin said, "Alaykum bi taqwallah wa nazmi amrikum." Be conscious of the teachings of Allah and be organized. Be organized. All your things must be in order. That's why we have leaders. That's why we have executives. So that everything must be in order. So one of your role as a member, you have to be obedient to your leader. Well, you know, sometimes, as I was mentioned last night, there are some people, when they have a problem with Sheikh, because Sheikh is a member of this Jama'ah, they stop coming to the mosque. Baba, is he the mosque? This is mosque. Mosque is crying, as I mentioned yesterday. There are people who have seen that even in our communities. When they've got a problem with him, they say, no, I'm not going to the mosque. So long as he's there, I'm not going. But is he the mosque? Are you praying inside him? So these are where the role of the members of the community is very important. You have to advise one another in doing good. Tell them, my brother, this is the house of Allah. This belongs to all of us. One of the role of a member is to have a sense of belonging. I belong here and this is for me. I must die for it. But if you are a member, you keep aloof, you don't want to be part of it, let them do. I can't make my salah and I go, it doesn't work. You must have a sense of belonging. I belong to the Jama'at and I must do everything to protect the Jama'at for the sake of Allah and Allah. Then inshallah you will see cooperation, you will see collaboration between the members and the community, inshallah.
Sure.
Now,
how can we strengthen the power of obedience to obey? Because it's like the obeying itself has become like, if we are in the centers, like in the mosque, in the Imamara, we are obeying to Allah, we are muttaq. Once we are out of this place, it's like there is no signal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's very, very important question. When we come to the mosque, we are obedient. When we go out of the mosque, we forget about it. Let me start with our ladies. You know, the first majlis of Hussein that took place in Sham, that was that of Bibi Zainab. When she spoke to Yazid. You know what was the philosophy of that khutbah and the sermon of Zainab? She mentioned many things. But the focal point was about hijab. Zainab wanted to protect hijab. Because Yazid never protected hijab. That's why I said let me start here. Today you find some of our women, sisters, daughters, Muharram become 40